Kent Graham is up next. He said, I read that you were supposed to be in the 10th season of the UFC's Ultimate Fighter. What's the real story behind you not being on it?
Okay, the real story, or you want the fake story?
I want the real stuff. We want the real shit here.
Okay. Dana White, I approached the UFC. This is the second time I approached him. I approached him in 2006 when I left WWE, and I signed with TNA, and I met with Dana White in 2006, and he said, hey, I'll sign you right now, but you have to stop wrestling. I said, Dana, I just signed with a new company, Impact Wrestling, and I don't want to let them down. I just signed a contract like a week ago. He said, well, when you're done with that, you can come back to me. So in 2010, when things weren't going so great for me in TNA and that whole situation with my ex-wife occurred, I reached out and to Dana, and he offered me a contract, a 6-fight deal. He was really cool to me. I mean, this guy treated me like gold. I absolutely love the guy. I have a lot of respect for him. And what he did was he decided to give me a 6-fight deal, and he wanted me to be on Real Fighter with Kimbo Slice.
Yes, that's right.
I said, Dana, nobody gets paid on that show to be on it. I mean, you're beating the shit out of each other, and no one's getting paid. He said, well, I'll give you $500,000 to be on the show. I was like, oh, okay. That's not a bad idea. So I was going to do it. I was getting ready to do this. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to leave Dixie Carter yet. And I don't want to let her down because she treated me so well throughout my career. And I also thought, you know what? My body is not as in check as it used to be.
Yeah.
In other words, I was pretty banged up. I broke my neck 5 times already. I had numbness in my arms. I have weakness in my upper body. I can only bench 150 pounds at this particular time. And I knew that I wasn't physically ready to be in the UFC. So I talked myself out of it. I figured all I'm going to do is embarrass myself because I won't be 100% ready. And so I decided to back out of it, and I stuck with TNA. That's the story.
There it is right here on the Kurt Angle Show, as told by Kurt Angle. Terry is back with another question. He said, if you started your career all over again after winning the Olympic gold medal, and if UFC was as mainstream as it is today, so here's the caveats, would that have been your next move? And did your visit to the original ECW make you question if professional wrestling was really for you?
Oh, it definitely made me question if professional wrestling was for me. I mean, this crucifixion thing blew my mind.
Right.
And it definitely turned me away from it for a while. But then I started watching it and understanding it, that it was entertainment. And, you know, some of the things they do are going to be a little crazy and a little chancy. But, yeah, listen, if the UFC would have been popular, now don't get me wrong, they had a good run in the 90s, but they weren't paying their fighters a lot of money.
Right.
It was a low amount of money, to be honest with you. But if they would have came in, if they would have started being mainstream in 1998, I definitely would have won the UFC route, because the reason why I didn't go back to the UFC is because in 2000, I had a stellar rookie year, and I was doing so well in pro wrestling, and then UFC became mainstream, and I was looking at UFC and saying, I want to go over here, but I'm doing so well over here. I don't know what to do. And I thought, you know what? I'm having so much success as a pro wrestler. I'm going to continue on. So if the UFC would have been mainstream a couple of years prior, I probably would have gone the UFC route. And I don't know if that would have been a good thing or not.
It's all hindsight's 2020. Who knows, man, right? You know?
I'm not going to welch about it now.
Hey, listen, and that's the sport too. You get knocked out once or twice, and then it's like, shit, I got to start over, and your credibility takes a hit, even if you come over to pro wrestling. You came over to pro wrestling while your star was nice and shiny, and you were an Olympic gold medalist, so you were still, you know, this champion, this hero, and you made millions.
A safe call.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, Bryant Haremza, not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, Kurt. He's in the chat. And he's like, Kurt, can you send Paul a tiny cowboy hat to wear on the show, or at least a Kurt Angle hat to wear for the show? No, Bryant, we are from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I am supporting
Steelers all the way.
There you go, buddy. I love it. All right, let's keep it moving.